Welcome to LinkedUp, Breaking Boundaries in Education, a podcast that focuses on what is happening in education today, connecting everyone to the movers and shakers that are breaking boundaries in the education arena.
Welcome to LinkedUp, Breaking Boundaries in Education. Seems like we have some folks from Kansas here. So Jerry has some friends who are joining us who she is continually blown away by. And I think they are the epitome of boundary breakers, from what I understand. Is that right, Jerry?
I think you are right. And I could not be prouder of these two. I have known both Rob Dickson and Dyane Smokorowski, which I never call her Dyane Smokorowski. I always just call her Mrs. Smoke, because that's what everybody calls Mrs. Smoke. I've known them both for years. And before the show, we were talking about how sometimes Kansas gets overlooked for the work that they're doing that's innovative. And in the early 2000s, we were doing a lot of innovative work, and that's when I met both of them. But they have not stopped. This is a marathon for them. They are continually just working away, and they are in Wichita, Kansas. And they are looking at school differently. And we've heard so many people talk about, oh, let's redefine school and we'll put a tweak in the schedule or we'll do this. Not these two. They are definitely reinventing it. So first of all, I want to say welcome, Dyane and Rob, to the LinkedUp podcast. We are excited to have you here today. Rob, can we start with you?
I'm a Chief Information Officer. I've been here since August of 2019. So you can imagine what kind of career here at Wichita I've had since basically in the pandemic. So I'm in charge of the virtual school Education Imagine Academy. Also get to work with Smoke with digital citizenship and the EdTech team. Obviously see the operations side of technology. And I oversee our K-12 vertical school, which is new this year, called Creative Minds. So it's a vertical school.
Not virtual, that's vertical.
Vertical, yep.
We're going to hear more about that in just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, Dyane, Mrs. Smoke.
Hello. Yeah, this is my 5th year. I'm just 1 year behind Rob here in the Wichita Public Schools, but I've had a long partnership in educational technology going back to 2001 and have just the wonderful gift to be able to work with the educational technology team here in the district as we start to help teachers improve their practice by thinking differently, going more into real world connections and beyond. It's a blast. And I get to do it just around the corner from Rob. So it's a win-win.
Whoa, that's great. And I know, Rob, I don't know, Jamie, were you able to watch when Canva rolls out their new products? It's a major event from Hollywood.
Yes.
Rob was one of the featured speakers. Yes. And the national stage is not anything new to either Rob or Mrs. Smoke. But before we start talking about Wichita, Rob, tell us a little bit about why you were in Hollywood, rock star, and on the stage at Canva.
We have a great partnership with Canva within the district. And every year Canva has Canva Create, which they release a whole new set of features and this year was huge. I mean, they released Canva AI as a second implementation of AI within their platform, include Canva coding, which you can create your own apps. Teachers can create their own apps. They're about to release AI for students, for all students, even age appropriate to elementary. And when you look at Sheets and some of the other things, you can start to basically create an automation of your social platforms. And so it's pretty amazing to see that and be a part of that experience as well. Because I think really having a single platform and simplifying technology for our end users, especially in Smoke's realm, that's huge, right? Digital literacy and simplifying that for teachers that don't have a high digital literacy, it makes their efficiencies even better.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, Dyane, tell us, what are you most excited about that you're working on right now? Because you all have a lot going on.
We do have a lot of great things in the works. And I would say There are two things that I'm very excited about we're working on right now. One of them is a teacher leadership cohort. I was the 2013 Kansas Teacher of the Year, and in 2019, I was inducted into the National Teachers Hall of Fame. And teacher leadership is very much one of my passions, as I believe we can lead right where we are in our classrooms. So we do have a cohort of teacher leaders in the state that we have been pouring into this year who are just extraordinary educators. So there's that piece, and many of them are using digital tools to kind of help expand their teacher leadership abilities. So there's that piece. And then right now, I am just very excited about the work that we're doing to build AI literacy for, and this is where it gets interesting, clerical staff, teachers, and administrators, and operations. We are coming from all different directions so that we can help our staff learn to work with these tools to provide efficiency, creativity, and more importantly, in the classroom, bigger impacts with not only in the classroom itself, but in our community as a whole. So I am nothing less than excited.
Yes. And that teacher leadership and building those skills is so important.
You can't change education without teachers believing they are the key to making change. So they sometimes just need to be reminded that you are a leader. You may lead with 17 to 25 fourth graders in your classroom, but you are a leader and people look to you as someone who can make change. You know your community better than anyone else. And if you've got innovation, if you've got creative ideas, and you have the AI tools to help balance those ideas, provide efficiencies, provide opportunities to build a network with others who also have these skill sets, friends, we're unstoppable in a very good, positive way to reach personalized learning, which is our goal in the end.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that is so important, is elevating teachers' voices, making sure that they know that they are leaders, and just gives them a sense of comfort so that because the best teachers are risk takers, but they can only feel that way if they know they have the support of the administration. And it looks like you are just allowing them, to have that freedom to be able to take those risks and elevating their voices and doing so. So I think it's so important. It really is the most important thing.
So Dyane, I'm wondering, what has the response been to all of the training that you're doing with people in the district with AI?
When it comes to the teacher leadership cohort, I am getting and hearing great feedback. Really, if you want to see changes in education, teachers have to believe that they have the agency to do so. So there's kind of a formula to this. One, you're a teacher leader, and we recognize that and we see that in you. Two, come with creativity. You're someone who knows your community better than anyone else. So you are coming with a solutions forward approach when you see there's a need and I have a solution to get there. Three, you have great relationships with your community and with your children. Everything is based in relationships first. And then four, we finally give you the tools so you can take all of your ideas and have the perfect bouncing tool or the tool that helps you organize your plan to make an impact. That has tremendous positivity.
Yes.
When it comes to training on the principal side of AI, I cannot tell you how often you're in the middle of a conversation and then there's just a moment of pause. We've been hearing it in ed tech for a long time. When I was in middle school, it sounded like this. When kids were wowed, they go, huh. It's like the best sound ever, right? I call that teacher crack. I'm like, I'll tap me in. If I can hear that again, it amplifies in the room. And I'm like, huh, oh, got you, right? But here's what's happening with AI. There's this awkward pause and they go, and then wait a minute. Like, yep, we got you. Now they're starting to make those connections and saying, there is something to using these tools that helps me as a building leader or as a community impact to do something on a next level. That's really cool to watch.
Oh, I'm sure. That's great. And it must be fun to watch them make those connections.
Oh, I live for it. That's the reason why I'm kind of addicted to it, stably.
Yes. And speaking of doing things on the next level, I think, Rob, you all are doing things on the next level with the school model.
Yeah.
A little bit about that. What's happening there?
A couple of years ago, we started our Future Ready Center for Advanced Manufacturing. If you were to look at that facility, none of that space looks like a classroom. And kids learn about advanced manufacturing and automation with our industries partners. And they basically teach them that. And you'll see that we'll open up more Future Ready Centers in the future. In fact, this fall, we opened the Hack, which is the hub for advanced computer knowledge. It's in partnership with WSU Tech. All of these are. So they are dual rolled. And these are offered to all of our secondary students. So you can go into Future Ready Center for Advanced Manufacturing. This next year, we have the Hack, which has data science, machine learning as an extension of computer science, and cybersecurity. So all of those high-earned, high-wage jobs would be an opportunity for our students to get certificates. And otherwise, we'll look at the trades and biomed in the future beyond that. But one of the things that's pretty consistent with that is none of those look like a traditional classroom. And so I think you'll see a lot of different things come out of there. In fact, at the elementary level, Smoke and I got to start Creative Minds, which is at the Learning Lab. It's a non-district facility funded by Stand Together. And so there's 5 micro schools within this one large facility. And we're just one of those. We call it a vertical school because it's K through 6 in one classroom. And the day looks very different than a day for an elementary kid. So at the start of the day, you have your core and it's delivered pretty traditionally. But then in the afternoon, it's all project-based learning. And just this last week, we got to take Dayton Public Schools around. They came and visited us and we had our showcase, innovation showcase. So these students work together in teams to solve a problem. And that could be a real world problem. So one of the opportunities that we saw in there was a kid had a shovel that would basically fertilize the ground as it's shoveling. And so for what would actually plant the plant and fertilize it as you put it into the ground. And so they had to come up with a plan, a prototype. They had to come up with a script, and they used AI to help create the script. They had to cold call a business, local business, to help them. And in fact, on that one, they didn't succeed on the first call, right? So there was this sense of social fitness that these kids are building. Another group of kids, 2 second graders, built a watering system that used gravity to kind of funnel the water so it wasn't depositing the water all at one time, but it was over time. And so these kids are kind of doing things very differently that you would see in an elementary classroom. And it's wildly successful. Like we have a huge, we have about 100 family weight on that. And we'll double that classroom next year. But it's great to see, again, something that doesn't look like a traditional classroom.
That's amazing. Can you explain how kids can get into this? So you said they're K to 6. Did you say it's one class and there's going to be a waiting list of 100? How does that work to get in?
We opened up one classroom at the Learning Lab this year, and we're going to expand to 2 classrooms next year. And this will probably be compounded as we move forward. So you'll see us likely just double in size every year as we grow. Originally, we reached out to kids that left the district with an exit of homeschool or private school. And so it was trying to reach a kid that had defined that traditional education was not working for them.
Right.
And so while this probably ends up being labeled as some kind of alternative in the future, I think Smoke and I agree. I think the alternative should be the default, if I'm being honest.
100%. Yeah.
Are you surprised that many people are waiting to have their children in this school, willing to take that leap of faith?
I'll let Smoke talk about this.
Okay.
You know, what's interesting is we also have a great deal of teachers very keen to know how they can get into teaching the space as well. There is something in traditional school that serves a good majority of families.
Right.
That's the reason why it hasn't changed over and over time. Yet there's this other idea is like of wondering, does my own personal experience in a K-12 environment need to equate to what my child has?
Right.
Do I need to be in a high school, and this is elementary, right? But do I need to be in a middle school or high school where I walk into a box and then I ring a bell and I walk into another box and ring a bell and so on? Or could there be a chance for us to sit down and figure out how these different core concepts are not isolated, but they are in fact working hand in hand to build some deeper understandings? And when students have to wrestle with, here is a problem that I see, here's a solution that I might have, and I may have to take some really wild, innovative ideas to try something out because we're failing forward to testing these things out. It's true, authentic STEM. And then I also need to talk to an expert. So I'm going to cold call a local garden center to see if they'll work with me. And I'm 7. That's crazy cool, right? And what's remarkable, my friends, is when these children are calling these locations and they said, yeah, I'm in 2nd grade. You're in 2nd grade? Yes, I'm in 2nd grade. Having these conversations, they're catching people's attention. So they're learning how to speak up for themselves, advocate, solve problems, do it writing that actually is not formulaic, but is actually writing marketing strategies and solutions. There's purpose behind it.
Yeah.
And I, as a parent, would want my child to be in a purposeful place. I, as a teacher, chose education because it's a purposeful field to be a part of. Why not tap into letting that be the part of the entire day?
Yeah, I mean, that's phenomenal. I'm, as a former science teacher from the 90s who did interdisciplinary teaming, I did, the problem-based learning for every unit. Seeing this as the core, as the main portion of their learning with the core subjects on the outside, it was just perfect. And I love to see how it's progressed since that time when I was in the classroom, being able to do this as the forefront of their daily routine. And it really, again, it's just taking that real world experience to that next level. It's fabulous. Fabulous.
I'm curious if you have to train the teachers that are going to be in these situations, and how does that work?
That is an excellent question. Rob, what would you say first?
So I would say originally we picked Olivia Sumner. She's amazing. She was a distinguished classroom teacher previous years, and she's awesome. I took her from Education Imagine Academy, our virtual school, to place there. She has a passion for project-based learning.
Yes.
And so in the future, and I probably won't get too into the weeds on it, but we'll end up incubating a teacher in a classroom next to Olivia for a year before they go out to build another classroom. And so, absolutely, I think it has to be defined and shadowed so that our teachers, either existing teachers can unlearn, right, what they've learned, or new teachers coming in from WSU and other places, being able to experience that as their original form of education delivery.
Obviously, there's authentic assessment that's happening here. Authentic instruction needs authentic assessment. But we have stating. So how does that come into this? Is it working? Is there a disconnect? I mean, obviously we want to get rid of that at some point, but it is a fact. So how are you dealing with that in this authentic, real world type of instruction and learning?
Thankfully, at the elementary level, we can focus on power standards, right? And so you can kind of high level focus on power standards. I would say that 6th grader, we've learned, I mean, you've got all the standards. So we hit those with our 6th grade. I like the K-6 model. I'm still kind of struggling with that. I like the K-6 model because I don't know that every kid is ready to go to middle school today out of 5th grade. And, but I also see that a family can make a choice to leave at 5th grade and go on to a middle school, right? So we have a middle schooler or 6th grader today that's going to go into an IB program for next year and is amazing. So, and is excelling. And I would say all these kids looking at, they still take FASPERS, they still take state assessments. All these kids so far, we have yet to see their state assessments, obviously, because they've been working on those. But FASPERS scores, these kids are knocking it out of the park. And many of them hadn't been tested before. So,
wow. Love it.
Yes, that's so exciting. Yes. And then the fact that you are actually getting bigger each year. That's really exciting that people are loving it and you are moving it forward and training more teachers, more students can be involved in this. It's fantastic.
I think one of the things, I love that you pointed that out, Jerry. I think one of the things Wichita Public Schools is trying to shift its mindset of, remember, we're the largest school district in Kansas. If you live in the Wichita area, like we have 47,000 kids. I really think we're becoming an educational marketplace. And when you think of school choice, right? If I can choose to go to the hack or I can choose to go to advanced manufacturing, it's trying to introduce purpose, which has high relevance. And you can introduce more rigor when there's a high relevancy. Yeah. And I think knowing that all these classrooms don't look like traditional classrooms and kids are learning by doing. I think that's really, if you wanted to define it to something, it's learning by doing. I think our school board supports us 100% in all of these efforts. We just presented on Creative Minds in the last school board meeting. They love it. In fact, 2 board members came to our educational showcase that our kids did. And so it's great to see that support out there. For our Future Ready centers, it's the same thing. They love to see the kids. I mean, if you can come out with a certificate and have the job skills ready to go straight into a job, that's amazing for the Wichita industry. And so no matter which side, right, politically you're on, I think in the end, if it's the future of Wichita, I think it meets the demand on both ways.
I love that you're offering that variety to all of your students. I think that's the key.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, so what is next?
We just hired an AI specialist on our team, Caitlin. She's amazing. We'll be expanding that department here pretty soon and looking at what we do with AI. I'm pretty proud of the work that Smoke and her team has done. We're in the last 2 issues of EdTech Magazine, highlighted in both for our work in AI and AI literacy. I think we'll start to ask questions, getting actions out of our data in the future than just looking at it, right? I think districts do a great job of looking at data and gazing over data. And I think it's very hard to know what actions to take. But I think if I could have something with a higher IQ than me or something like that as like just there as a coach, I really think, if you can multiply that to every single person in your organization, right? Whether it's that clerical and service person that we're giving AI literacy to, or even someone's on Smoke's team on how to deliver better professional development, or whether that's a science teacher in a middle school. And one of our Bills labs, we have 5 Verizon innovative STEM labs that were funded by Verizon to help that STEM teacher introduce STEM criteria to those middle school students. I think that's amazing, right? You've just compounded the amount of intellect and offering, both from a teacher and a student to a clerical person to a bus driver to just about anybody, right?
To Smoke's point, it was the last cog on the ring is really giving them the tools to make these things happen. I think we've all known personalized learning and making it relevant is so important, but we always haven't had the tools that would allow a teacher to do that for every student.
For certain. Let's rewind time just a little bit. I was in elementary school in the 80s and in the 70s, and we had listening centers. As one of the rotations, I would sit LP record. I go back that far back, right? I would have something to listen to, or we had SRA things. Yes. And then eventually TVs come in, big, giant carts, and we now have visuals that help bring understanding around concepts that were difficult to do in a film strip, right?
Right.
And then closed captions come. Every bit of these iterations of technology are moving us closer so that a child is finding accessibility to information that they may have struggled with before.
Right.
If I needed closed captions, this was revolutionary for students with, the ability of having visual differences or learning English. These things are all almost mainstream at this point, that if I don't understand a certain language, I can translate it pretty spot on at this point. If I want to have a conversation if my students in Kansas would like to talk to somebody that is living in the Philippines and that person doesn't speak English, we now have tools that will translate almost automatically for us to have an authentic conversation. Things that we were thinking were impossible are possible. And the closer we get to that and build teacher skills to understand the power of what that can do, and then if you know your students well enough to know what needs they have, we know them as people and as learners, both ways, then you've opened a door. A door that hasn't been easily opened before. It's almost like the garage doors are rolling up and you're like, let's play. Because now we have the chance to meet the needs of exactly who you are, what you need, and find a real world relevance to it.
I love that. I do have to ask Rob another question that's just a little bit off topic. Because I have to tell you, Jamie, if you ever go to a conference and you sit next to Rob, just figure that you're probably going to be spending $600 before you leave with a new tech tool or gadget that is absolutely amazing. My husband's always, don't sit by Rob.
Man, I would say my glasses are still something that I keep going back to. The updates on the glasses, because I have 4 pairs of these glasses now. And I would say just, I have less screen time on my phone, like to of an order of magnitude. Like the amount of features that I can just ask and get information from, because it has more real-time data today, because the latest update allows for that real-time data. And I think to myself, like, I'm becoming a better human because of it, just because if my friends are there, I don't have a screen in front of my face. And I think it's helping me to have better awareness of my surroundings. So
that's fantastic.
It's crazy to think of a new tech doing that, right? Like usually it's pulling your attention another way, right? To keep you in an app or something. And this is non-intrusive.
Oh. Smoke, tell us about a tool you're loving.
To be honest, it is the dictation tools built into my computer. It takes so long to type all of the prompts in AI, but when I can turn on a transcription piece, I can just talk. And I'll say, I'm brainstorming this idea for a teacher leadership event. And I see a couple of these ideas. My thoughts are around this. And I tell it in the beginning, I am just going to ramble. I want you to summarize all of my notes and then give me action items from this. So what I need to do next. And I want you to ask me questions that I haven't asked myself. Just that ability to talk versus having to type very low tech, but very powerful at the same time.
Both of those examples are leading you away from a screen experience.
Right.
It makes you wonder, like, what does the future look like? Is it XR? Is it extended reality, which I think it is? And then what does the future of, engagement with technology look like? And if I were to tell you at Creative Minds, it's engaging with a 3D model, printer, or technologies that are not necessarily device-based. And I think it's more like that.
Yeah, I love both of these examples too. And the biggest example I think you have is your school district. And I am so excited because our company, ClassLink, sponsors the COSIN Aspiring Tech Director. And we're going to be coming to Wichita next spring and visiting. And I cannot wait to see everything that you're doing. So I think that would be really fun for people all around the country to see what's happening in Wichita.
October is going to be fun. We'll take them around. We'll see STEM labs. We'll see Creative Minds. We'll have conversations about, moving to the cloud, all those things. I think it'll be great.
Oh, I do too. It's exciting. Jamie, you should join us.
I would love to. We bring a little magic in it as well. So there's some elements of surprise and delight that we can't reveal quite yet, but I do think it'll provide a little extra inspiration when you come.
Oh, that's fantastic. And Jamie, you probably don't know this, but Smoke worked at Disney, and she now even takes groups of teachers to Disney. and they think about the magic and how they can incorporate magic into their classroom. So when she says that there's going to be something magical,
That's a next level magic. I get it. Emotional connection to the content. That's what magic is.
We're hosting an AI summit next month, at the end of May, with Wichita State University. It's actually going to be at Wichita State, and Smoke's made some magic, and there's some really awesome things happening. We've got 2 great keynotes. Jason Wilmot, who's president of Canva Education, is coming to give keynote on day 1, and Jerry Gillespie, who is in AI and Microsoft Worldwide, is coming to do keynote for day number 2. So it should be a fun couple days.
Well, it's great. It is going to be happening May 28, 29 at Wichita State University. And we can give you the link to get in the show notes if you'd like. But it's
Great.
It's super affordable, $100. That's it. Teachers or anyone who comes can get 1 grad credit if they want to come as well. But I will tell you that I don't believe in sit and get PD at all. That is definitely not who I am. This is going to be energetic, collaborative, hands-on, experiential learning for professional development.
Wow.
And it does include, if folks choose to, they can take a tour of Wichita State's innovative campus and see how the change of work is also happening so that we are helping our children from kindergarten all the way up have a way to impact our community in a positive way. And we are co-hosting this with Wichita State University, so we would love pre-service, in-service teachers, and anybody passionate about education to come join us.
I'll look forward to getting the link because I want to put it out there. I know a lot of Kansas educators that are so interested in this.
And you don't have to be from Kansas. Anybody can come.
Right. Yeah. We have folks from Missouri coming, Oklahoma, Nebraska.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, that sounds great. Well, kudos to you for keeping Kansas on the map. Doing good things. So proud of you both. And this has been a great conversation today.
Thank you so much.
And keep doing the good work.
Thank you for listening. And if you would like to stay linked up, be sure to follow us on Apple and Spotify and subscribe to us on YouTube.